Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our programming session on indexOf and substring, just to get a little practice, get a little better understanding. So I think all y'all had a pretty good understanding of substring. So if I had some use of it, so for example, sport dot substring, y'all can handle the 2-parameter version, so say 3 comma 5, and running that and printing that little what that calculates. We see it is right there, just as we would expect. The knights who say ni. So similarly, if we just took from 3 to the end, that single parameter version of it, y'all understood pretty well. Now, similarly, for indexOf. But the idea here is that, well, what's the purpose of indexOf? It looks for something and it tells you the position. So I'll just put a little variable there, and I can do indexOf sport dot ni, and we should know, sport dot indexOf, and that will tell us where those two characters are. And as we expect, we should know that it's at position. We know that it's at position 3, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, right there. That's where we first see that thing. So y'all understood that pretty well. A little quick review. Thing to keep in mind is that substring is a substring, so it gives you a string as the output, which I'm going to grab into this variable, the string variable here called sub. Similarly, I'm going to look for the index of where is this, where that what would answer that question, a number. Where is it? It's at position 3. So you all understood that pretty well. One of the take-home messages that I gave you then was that indexOf can basically, you can give it anything and it will be fine, right? IndexOf is just looking, where is that? Well, where is the word anything in this original string? Nowhere. That's where it is. It's not there. So what we do is we return 1. Now, the problem comes is if we take substring, and how long is this? Say that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right? So the biggest number that I could give it as a substring is 15. And if I do that, it should be fine. Oh, sorry, 14. Probably. I might have miscounted there. Take 14. Try it again. It's length 14. Duh. Right. So it would go to the end. We know we could also get the same thing if we just take away and give it only 1 parameter. Right? But, as you all saw with 15, what if I gave it some ridiculous number like 18? Going all the way from 2 to 18. That's what I'm going to try right here. We see we get an error message. Why? Well, it says, the error message, it says string index out of bounds exception. String index is out of range, right? 18, that's just way too many, right? 14 as the length, that's the biggest number we could put in there. So we get a problem there. So again, hopefully you understand that. And very similarly, if I just put in, 20 or something like that, that's just ridiculous. It's way out of bounds. And of course, on a single case-by-case basis, that would never happen, right? Well, but what if we kind of combine these things and I wanted to, and let's make it a little bit more exciting of an example. Let's look for the word is. Okay, let's look for where is the word is, or the string is in there. We would expect it to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Comment that up so it doesn't cause a problem. So we're going to take a look and wait, position 4. I thought we said position up. Hopefully you caught that the word is already appears right there, and the word 10 is. So if I did really actually want to find it, hopefully I'll recognize that I could look specifically for that, and that would, or maybe if I wanted to find it right at the beginning, play around with it, that's where that actual, you have to kind of troubleshoot and figure out what's the best way to find that. Maybe even and add 1 to it. So anything like that. So that's part of the, but what if I then did a substring of using that position, 0, comma, from 0 to position, right? I could then kind of pluck out that, and that's kind of nice, right? We can then use it, we're going to see that that would pluck out just that first word. So we can kind of use that maybe in a little chat bot or something like that we're designing. You kind of leverage that to our effect. But what if the problem becomes when I run that? If I'm looking for anything, well, what happened? What just happened? Why do we get an string? I just went from 0 to position. Well, what is the position of anything in this? Well, that would return -1. The -1 goes in there. And 0 to -1, though, that doesn't make sense. So clearly we need some kind of control structure, and that's what we'll be studying next week, that in a way that will help us out. So that's something right there. Just being careful that indexOf will return any number where that first string is seen in that string, and it'll tell you the position, which is an integer. But then substring, right, its whole purpose is to return a string, another string, and we just have to be careful that we don't either give it too big of a number, or in this case too small of a number, or even, as a side note, if you try to do something like this, 4, 2, that's kind of going backwards, that isn't acceptable either, given this version of substring. So you could theoretically define a version of it that would work. But a couple things to keep in mind. So any of those problems can kind of happen, and be ready for that. Next, there is another cool method. So I wanted to find this is, so I look for that. Or you can also look for, there's another cool method. So string index, let me rephrase that. Int last position. If I can actually look for the last position of something by using a particular method called last index of. So if I look for the last index of is, let's take a look and see what that does. So the last position. There it is. So it actually, this particular method, last index of, so we have index of, substring, we have last index of, it actually looks for the last place that method, assuming that sub part of the string is in. So if you look over here, if you just Google Java string API, there's a whole bunch of stuff. We won't understand what all of this is, but let's look and see if we can't figure out what some of it already does with this. Try to understand it. So index of, here's our index of method, right? We have index of string str, it just takes in a string and returns the index with the first occurrence of the index within the string and the last specified substring, and it returns that integer that we're looking for, right? There's a couple other overloaded methods you'll understand over. If we're looking for a particular character, we can, which with the number, don't pay too much attention to that right now, but we also have this last index of, right? Last index of string. So it actually returns the index within the string of the last occurrence of the specified string. And then you even have an overload version, which we can study, where you start, there's another one, the from index, so we can play around with those. But hopefully you'll start to read some of this API and start to look at it on your own. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful, hopefully clarified some things, and you'll do some practice down below.